They've done a lot of studies actually showing that people who exercise, athletes, have a more diverse microbiome.
Mm.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So the microbiome responds to that. And this may also help drive reduction in body fat and improve your metabolism.
Hmm.
So when we say go exercise, it's good for you, you lose weight. That's kind of like what most people think. And that's still the truth, but I'm the kind of guy who asks, well, why? What's actually happening? Where is that coming from?
Yep.
And this is one of the ways the
Yeah.
microbiome is responsible for that. And exactly how everything happens and how everything occurs is still being worked out. But the next key concept is in what we call metabolites.
Mm.
So it's one thing to say you have a microbe or a bacteria, and then you want to look at what is that bacteria actually doing? What is it releasing? What is it making? And this is the metabolite.
Hmm.
Kind of the same concept of, COVID's a fresh topic and the COVID vaccine fresh topic. So the COVID vaccine is a RNA. It's the genetic material to make spike protein. And so you have that genetic material and then you produce a spike protein. So you can kind of think of it. It's an improper analogy technically, but just to make the point, you
Hmm.
can think of the spike protein that the vaccine makes as the metabolite. It's the
Okay.
product that is made by the gene.
Hmm.
And so the bacteria also have genes, right? They have to.
Right.
The gene, DNA is the thing of life.
Yep.
And so if you think about if there are like 100 trillion bacteria in your gut, and all of those guys have genes,
Mm.
that's a lot of genes,
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of genes. So, for example, these guys may eat fiber and then produce short chain fatty acids. Butyrate, for example, is a famous metabolite.
Hmm.
So these are the things that can actually influence our health. So the bacteria are there. The bacteria make or produce something. That chemical then is now in our body, in our bloodstream, and can go to different places in our body and influence health at that level,
Mm.
like a medicine, almost like you
Yep.
take a medicine and it does the same thing. And so this is probably this is going to be the next iteration or next understanding of the microbiome. We'll probably be talking more about metabolites from the microbiome than the actual microbiome itself.
Interesting.
This is probably where it's going to go, because that's where the answers to a lot of things come from.
Yeah. In terms of testing, what is available for someone that's listening that wants to maybe have a gut microbiome testing done or food sensitivity testing done? What can you tell us there?
Gut microbiome testing is a fun topic to talk about too. There's a lot of misconceptions on what a gut microbiome test actually is or what
Okay.
it means. There's a ton of stool tests you can get out there.
Yeah.
And just because you do a stool test and they give you a list of 25 different, microorganisms and what their balance or imbalance is, does not make a microbiome test.
Mm.
If there are 100 trillion in your gut and you get a list of 25, how in the world is that reflective of what's going on, right?
Right.
So I'm kind of a purist when it comes to that, and I guess I have to be because I'm an integrative gastroenterologist. We want to look at what's going on in the entire system, and there's so many different variations of microbial patterns that you might find between any individual. So I may be a microbiome guy, I may be a precision medicine guy,
Hmm.
but there is no way on earth that I or any human could be expected to know trillions of different bacteria and what all of them do.
Sure.
That's why we have AI driving the results reporting behind a lot of these tests.
Hmm.
But the key point is not so much, and my thought process has changed over the last few years too. It's not like I was born thinking this way, but the main idea is not really to fixate on this microbe or that microbe,
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, like we were talking about metabolites, you don't know what that microbe, good or bad, is actually doing.
True.
Is he dormant? Is he making stuff? Is he making what you think he's making or what you presume he's making based on studies on that microbe?
Yep.
I don't know. We don't
Right.
know, right? Unless you're looking at that specifically. So, fixating on, you get a list and you're like, oh, I have this bacteria. This is bad guy because I look at all the stuff online and it says da 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 da. So I need to do da 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 da. That's not the way to look at it. You can look at the guys. You can say bad guy, good guy. I understand. I have more of these, less of these. What's more important is, okay, so what's the net effect? What's happening in your microbiome, good or bad? Is there inflammation happening? Is there diversity? Is there resiliency? Are the microbes? Do you have in the microbiome? Do you have enough capacity to make your short chain fatty acids, make your
Right.
vitamins, things like that?
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, that's all we really want to know. That's all we
Mhm.
really care about. So I look at things from a very global perspective as far as that, because then you can really understand best what to do to support the microbiome.
Mm. Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned earlier the importance of our mitochondrial health. What can you tell us about mitochondria and why it's important to our overall wellness?
This is a great topic too. It's a topic that's coming out these days as well.
Hmm.
And the mitochondria are really energy powerhouses for our cells,
Hmm.
and they're in every cell in our body. And historically, they are actually ancient bacteria that somehow evolves to become part of our bodies as
Yeah.
well. And so a lot of people that have health issues may have dysfunction in the mitochondria, because dysfunction in the mitochondria means dysfunction in the cells, and the
Hmm.
cells are, they're the basic building block of us. And so by supporting the functions of the mitochondria, we can help our cells function better, which may help our overall symptoms. And, it depends on what problem you actually have, as far as what predictions could be made with regards to how you're dysfunctional. But sometimes people have a dysfunction in the electron transport chain. This is very science heavy when you
Yeah.
start talking about mitochondria,
Right.
and that's how the electrons are transported from um, uh, one part to the other part,
Hmm.
and you can support that. And sometimes you see, very high levels of mitochondria being cranked out, and you say, "Hey, that's great. I have mitochondria." But that's not necessarily great, because that means that your body is compensating for a problem.
Mm.
You have a viral infection, or you have something else going on in your body, and as a result there's compensation. The body's funny like that. When there's suppression or less amount of something,
Hmm.
in order to help create that balance, it will make more to
Mm.
try to offset the deficiency.
Interesting.
So the body is designed to be in homeostasis. That's where the body wants to be. Just like in thyroid disease, for example, if your thyroid levels are low, what happens? The TSH goes up, because the body wants to make more hormone to offset the balance, because you're deficient.
Hmm.
So this is how the mitochondria work as well too. So this
Yeah.
is an element that I look at when we're looking at people's health.
It's super interesting. Do you have any like specific steps or ideas that we can implement into our lifestyle to improve our mitochondrial health?
Yeah, very, very simple things. I actually had a mitochondrial expert on my podcast,
Nice.
talking about some of these things, and um, uh, you know, just exercising,
Hmm.
sleeping well,
Hmm.
hydrating, eating proper nutrition. These are very basic things that actually help support mitochondrial health.